I crept through the warped hallways, every step echoing in the unnatural silence, the shadows lingering just at the edge of my vision, patient, relentless. The house seemed to pulse beneath my feet, walls expanding and contracting, breathing in rhythm with the whispers that clawed at my mind. "You cannot leave. You are ours." I followed the faint pulsing light I had glimpsed in the previous room, the heartbeat light glow growing brighter as I approached a massive door at the end of the hallway. Its surface was old, warped, almost alive, with deep cracks that shimmered faintly in the dim light. I could feel the shadow's presence behind me, more aggressive than ever, and my pulse quickened, my breath shallow, every nerve screaming that this door held the key, or the ultimate trap. I reached out, hand trembling, and touched the surface. Cold, freezing, but beneath the chill, I felt a subtle vibration, like the heartbeat of the house itself, and an almost whisper of recognition. "You have come too far, yet we remember all." I pulled the door open, and the hallway beyond had transformed into a vast chamber, impossibly large, filled with floating symbols, shattered mirrors, and shadows moving independently of any light source. The whispers merged into a deafening roar, and I could see dozens of hollow-eyed figures reflected in the mirrors, all versions of myself, all trapped, all screaming silently. And then I saw it, the center of the room, a blackened void, almost like a portal, swirling with shadows and cold, dark energy that seemed to pull at my very soul. My instincts screamed at me to run, but curiosity and desperation forced me forward. The shadows converged around the void, twisting, writhing, some solid, some intangible, all moving in unison toward it, and I realized with a sickening certainty that this was the heart of the house's power, the core trap, the reason the house existed, to feed, to trap, to consume. Every fear I had felt since the first night I was home alone surged inside me, amplified by the presence of the void and the shadows. My hands shook violently as I gripped the bat, every survival instinct screaming that I had to act, that hesitation would mean being claimed forever. And in that moment, I understood the terrifying truth. The house wasn't just a place, it was an entity, alive, aware, and it had been waiting for me to reach this room, to test me, to determine whether I would survive or become a permanent part of its endless nightmare. I stood at the edge of the blackened void, the heart of the house, my chest heaving, sweat freezing on my skin as the shadows swirled around it, hissing, writhing, and whispering in voices that were mine and not mine, all at once. "You belong. You cannot leave. We remember everything." My hands gripped the bat so tightly that my knuckles ached, but I knew this wouldn't be enough. The house's power was immense, alive, omnipresent, and it fed on fear. I had to think, to act, to trick it using everything I had learned, the mirrors, the symbols, the patterns, the ways it bent reality to torment me. Slowly, deliberately, I positioned the broken mirrors around the edges of the void, angling them so that the shadows' reflections multiplied, fractured, and collided with each other, creating a temporary loop that slowed their advance. The walls groaned, the floor pulsed beneath my feet, and the house screamed in whispers, furious, as if punishing me for daring to resist. I darted forward, moving through the void's edge, dragging crates and chairs to block narrow pathways, creating a maze the shadows would be forced to navigate. Their hissing rose to an unearthly scream, echoing in the void, but the mirror trap held, even if only for a few precious moments. I realized I had found the first real leverage against the house. It had rules, patterns, and weaknesses, but exploiting them required courage and precision. I paused, breath ragged, heart hammering, staring into the swirling darkness of the void, knowing that one wrong move would mean being claimed, trapped, and added to the house's collection of hollow-eyed figures forever. And then the shadows lunged again, faster, stronger, more desperate, but the mirrors fractured their forms, bouncing them back, splitting them, forcing them into loops of their own distorted reflection. I ran, dodging, blocking, moving as fast as I could, and for the first time, I felt a spark of hope. Maybe survival wasn't impossible. Maybe the house's own power could be used against it. But as I glanced at the swirling void, a whisper slithered across my mind, cold, deliberate, and terrifying. You may delay us, but you cannot escape. The final trap remembers everything. I swallowed hard, knowing that even if I survived this night, the house would never let me go completely, and the true horror, the one I had only begun to understand, was that this nightmare had no end, only delays, tricks, and endless terror.